back to another edition of the Brett Figueroa Show. I'm extremely excited about having you with us here today, where our aim is to consistently move, motivate, and inspire you into your ultimate dreams, your ultimate goals, and your ultimate desires. Hey, I'm excited about today's edition, where we have Chris Vos out of beautiful Michigan on with us today. And I'm very excited about here today's interview with Chris, because Chris is going to talk about a subject that for many, it's like, ooh, it's like, sometimes it's like, there's certain subjects people want to talk about, certain subjects people don't want to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about the great subject of relationship building and the return on relationships. So I want to take a moment and welcome our guest here today, Chris Vos out of Michigan. Welcome on, Chris. I'm not hearing. Can't unmute the mic, isn't connected.
Oh, let's try that. How's that?
There we go. There we go.
There we go.
Hey, you got to always love when there's a little technical difficulty out of the gate.
Better than our screens going blank. You couldn't hear me for a second, right. So this is okay. We'll take that and run with it.
It's awesome.
It is beautiful here. Michigan is looking great. We're into the fall season. The leaves are changing. This morning, a little bit of a light rain coming down, pitter pat on the leaves. Just it's beautiful. Love the season. So great to be here on your show, though. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you with us here today, Chris. It's really exciting because you are, I'm really excited for our viewers and the people that are watching with us live or watching in a replay. But again, today's really about, relationship building. But before we talk about going into relationships and Chris's expertise on relationship, which is return on relationships, this program called ROR, Return on Relationships. Well, first of all, talk about it. One of the things that I see as one of his most important things in life, which is raising his family, which is the most important relationship that he can have out there. Chris, tell us a little bit about, you have 9 kids.
Yes. Well,
who has 9 kids?
If you count me as one of the kids, I technically could be 10. I say my wife is raising 9 kids. I sometimes say 10 because, I'm kind of,
right.
I kind of can fall into that category.
Right.
But so we have 9 wonderful children. Our oldest is 26 years old. Our youngest is 7. And we're just, God has blessed us with, our quiver is full. We have, we got a lot of kids, and they bring so much joy. There is, I guess we won't lie to you. I mean, kids, what parenting is one of the hardest jobs on the planet, hands down.
Absolutely.
By anything, but the amount of joy and stuff we have is great. And my wonderful wife, Jennifer, she's just a great companion, and the two of us are wired for a big family. Not one of us is wired. We're both wired for it. So I think that makes it a little bit easier.
Right. Makes it a lot easier, right? Because if one was wired for family, one's not wired for family. It's like, oh my goodness. That's a lot of mismatch. So we're excited. Screen just went dim over here. There we go. Back on live screen. So again, Chris, great to have you with us here today. You've got a beautiful family, 9 beautiful children. I was first exposed to you through our buddy Klaus out of, I think, Spain.
Yeah, he's over in Madrid, Spain.
Over in Madrid, right. Over in Madrid. Amazing guy. And he reached out and said, hey, you and Chris Vos need to connect up together. And you and I connect up together. And you're like the ultimate relationship dude. You're just like, okay, if there's this person I want to build a relationship with, I want to get into this, building that relationship. I remember the first time you and I were on a video chat together, and we're diving in with each other, having a lot of fun, and all of a sudden you pull out this magic wallet, and it had fire like spitting out of the wallet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing! Look at that! That was so cool. And you're like, dude, no worries, dude. I got you covered. I'll just send one out to you. And so I've got my magic wallet. I carry my wallet. I've got my license in it, and I got my cards in there and all that kind of stuff. And it's this cool wallet that literally lights up.
I love it.
It's so cool, and I use it all the time. I always have it. Well, it's got my money, my cards, and my ID. So, but it's really cool. But give us a little bit of insight I've just got a few questions for you because you again got an amazing, I think, building relationships, in business, that's one thing, but your family is another. You've been married for 26 years. You've got 9 beautiful children, great dad, great family man and all that. So it obviously is primary. What do you think it is for you that drove you into, putting importance on return on relationships? It seems like, before we go there, it seems like, in business, there's so many different lanes that we can go into. One person might talk about sales or leadership or authority or influence or, building traffic or building this or that. You're building on relationships. What do you think was the pivoting point for you that said, this is my lane, this is where I'm an expert at, this is where my mastery is in the ROR. And what do you think is the tilting point that moved you into that direction? Where you're at today?
Several experiences made me kind of have those aha moments that are like, wow, this is really cool. There's so much that you can do and accomplish in life when you do it with somebody else. And there's so many great companies. I mean, we have example after example of these amazing companies. And there's a great picture right there. So what lovely picture. One of the things, proof of concept that return on relationship works and that return on relationship is something that can be beneficial to you was that picture that you guys just brought up, because everyone that's going to be speaking at the symposium, all of those people in that picture are all coming to support me and support ROR and support the Return Relationship Symposium. And they're coming to support as a return on relationship to me. These are people that I've established relationships with, friendships with, and these people are more than willing to turn around and help support me in something that I'm putting on. And in addition to supporting me, they're willing to come and actually teach their expertise in this same area and department of relationship building. Every one of those people in there have built multi-million-dollar businesses, and they all did it on relationships. The guy in the middle of that picture, Russell Brunson, an amazing individual. Russell said in the interview that I did of him that relationships are everything. Everything in life is built upon relationships, and him and the major businesses that he has created and grown all around relationships. So I began to interact and connect with people and build relationships with them. And then the cool thing about it is, as I leaned into other people, basically showing love and attention and gratitude towards them, one thing I noticed is they were leaning back into me. They were reaching back to me saying, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Is there any way I can serve you? And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I didn't really think of anything, but when I think of something, I'll definitely reach out to you. And then something comes along where it's like, hey, I could use help with X, Y, and Z, or I would love someone's input, or I would like to have a symposium and invite some really smart people that come help contribute. So then I reach back to them and say, hey, yeah, there is something you could help me with. Would you mind participating in this? Or would you mind helping me with this? And so I was on with a coach one day, and I was explaining to him this whole concept of how I was able to build relationships with people and collaborate and get help and help them. He's like, Christopher, you need to teach this. You need to teach this.
Right.
Of course, you need to teach this, because this is something that's missing, because so many people lead with what's in it for me, what's in it for me, what's in it for me. And the leading factor with return on relationship, or ROR, is leading with service and leading with value. And what can I do for the other person? And time after time after time, I could speak for hours about all the experiences that I've had where someone has stepped up to be able to help me and aid me in things that I'm working on and doing that were very timely. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the solidification of bonding and having that relationship with the individual. And if I could share with you a quick story, this is where it all comes from. This is something I learned since I was a kid. So when I was a little child, I was a mama's boy, and I'd follow my mom everywhere around. She'd go run errands during the day. And when I wasn't in school, I was toting around with her, going to all these different places, the grocery store, or, to go get paint or wallpaper or whatever it was. And I remember following my mom into the bank. And this wasn't the first time I ever went to the bank with her. My mom would drop off, at Halloween, or, she'd drop off cider and donuts, or at Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter. And outside of regular holidays, she would drop off perfume for the bank teller ladies.
Oh, really? Wow.
She'd drop off a tie for the bank president or the manager, or a pocket square, or something cool to put on his desk, or a cool pen. And so I went to the bank with her several times where she was doing things for the people in the bank president, owner, bank manager, the tellers. So one day my mom went in and she had a large check that she had to cash. And I can't remember exactly what it was for. My dad was an attorney, so maybe it was a settlement check for a client, and maybe she was cashing it for a client because, you know, sometimes these, I don't know, so maybe it was something like that, I think, if I remember. So she went in, and back in the olden days.
Back in the olden days.
I mean, back then they didn't have.
I haven't heard that in a while. Back in the olden days.
You know, me and you are both getting up there, so we can say that, but you know, we still got a ways to go. But still, they didn't have computers back then like today, so you couldn't scan a check into a computer, and that computer wouldn't go to the bank and go, "Hey, is there $10,000 in this bank account so that I can give $10,000 cash out of our bank to this person? Is the check good?" So what they would do back then is they'd have to pick up the phone. They would call the other bank and say, "Hello, you know, Portland Federal Credit Union. This is Michigan National Bank, and we have a check. This person would like to cash for $10,000. This is one of your customers at your bank. Do they have the funds available to cash a check?" That's what you had to do. Well, for some reason, they couldn't reach the people on the other line to verify the funds. So she came back up to the counter and said, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Vos, we weren't able to reach the other person at the bank to see if these funds are good, but just hold on 1 second." So she walked around the counter, went to the bank, the guy behind the big desk, the bank president, and there was a conversation. And I heard the bank president say something to the effect of, and I'll never forget this, something to the effect of, "For Mrs. Vos, anything."
Wow.
And the teller walked back around the counter. And then I remember saying to my mom, "Do you want big bills or small bills?" And that to me was like, I just remember, I'm like, wow, they like kind of broke a rule, or they kind of bent over backwards, or they extended themselves, whatever frame of mind I had when I was a little kid. I just knew that they did something special for my mom when they didn't have to do that, that really the policies are this. But the reason they knew the check was good, because they knew my mom, and they knew that she wouldn't come in with a sketchy check, something that would be questionable. They knew her as an individual. And so what that taught me is, when you're dealing in business, whether you're online or offline, when you're dealing with people and you're collaborating, you're working on joint ventures, when you reach out to someone and say, "I'd love to have you interview me on your podcast," or "I'd love to interview you on my podcast," it's like, they don't need to spend a lot of time figuring out or vetting you. They know you as an individual. There's a relationship there. And because you have that, doors of opportunity open. And so that was a big lesson when I was a kid.
That's a pretty big lesson. That's a pretty big lesson. And that lesson carries over. So let me ask you this. And this was I was just thinking of, you know, before you and I came on here today, you know, some different questions I wanted to ask. And I'm such a huge advocate of relationships, you know, just like yourself. I mean, to me, relationships, and I've always been that way ever since I was a little kid. I don't know where it came about or what it was, but I've always had this thing with relationships. And I recognize you've got to nurture relationships, you've got to water relationships, you've got to feed relationships, you've got to take time, and you've got to take energy into building those relationships. What do you think is the biggest barrier of entrance for people? Like, why is it for some, you know, when it comes time for them to call on somebody, they don't really have anybody to call on to, you know, if they need something done or to get something handled. And then others, they got, you know, an endless supply of different, like yourself, you know, it's like, "Oh, I'll call Russell. Oh, I'll call Mark Victor Hansen. Oh, I'll call Brett. Oh, I'll call this guy. I'll call that." Like, and everyone just lays down for you and goes, yeah. You know, like, no problem. And for others, they can't, you know, get anybody on. Like, what do you think is the barrier of entrance for people, and why it is that they don't build the relationships that they know that they should be building?
You know, the biggest thing I can think of, and this is something I learned from a guy by the name of Dave Woodward, and he said, you know, you have to dig your well. I don't even think he was originally the one that came up with this, but I remember him teaching it. They say, dig your well before you're thirsty. And a lot of people, a lot of students that come into the ROR University and they learn the ROR method, which I can come back to talking about the method. But one thing that people say is, well, I got to get a product first, or I need something to sell, or I need to get my business in order, or I need to figure out how to build funnels, or I need to figure out how to do a website, or I need to figure out how to do an email sequence, or I need to figure out what niche I want to be in. Those are all good things to know. But the thing that you really need to know is who you're aligning yourself with and who you're creating your own inner circle, because it's so important. If you have an idea, like if you're in the digital marketing space, say, for example, it's probably a good idea to find who the best digital marketers are that are out there right now, and then start to align yourself with them and build a relationship with them. Because this symposium that I'm putting on, I have something to teach, something extremely valuable to teach people.
Right.
But if I would have waited to build those relationships and wait until I had something, now I have something. It's like, okay, now I got to go back and I got to find the people to help participate or help me along the journey. I dug my well before I was thirsty. So now I'm ready to drink. I need a drink. Now I can go tap these wells. And so the barrier to entry for people is thinking that they're not ready yet, or I need to do this, this, and this first. And when you listen to the interviews that I did with you, Brett, and everyone else I've done up to this point, the common thread that you hear in everyone is, Russell Brunson said it himself. He said, all businesses, my businesses, were built on relationships. So that doesn't mean figure out how to do Facebook ads first.
Yes.
It's build the foundation. It's just like a home. A home, if you don't build a home on a foundation, it's all going to fall apart and fall down and shift. So the foundation for everyone's life, their personal life, and their business is relationships. And once you have that foundation, then you start building all that stuff on top. And then you have a nice, strong base that's going to support everything that you're doing. So barrier to entry is people think they're not ready. They think they need to do all this other stuff first. And the thing is, no, don't do all that first. Start building relationships now. Best example too, take all those that picture of you put up on the screen, all those kids.
Yeah.
I had to build that relationship with that amazing woman, Jennifer. And then I got the ROR, which was all those kids. I couldn't get those kids first without the relationship. And the same thing with business. You can't have success in business unless you have the relationships first. There they are. Love that picture.
That's a beautiful picture. Somebody once said that most people don't have relationships. They have relation dinghies.
Is this a comedy show? I thought we were talking about serious stuff here.
It's the truth, right? There's a ship, and then there's this little thing called a dinghy. It's like, and so that's great. Great stories, great examples. The children are obviously amazing. Just leverage they're your family, they're your blood, they're your generations ahead of you. So that's so first and foremost. And for those that are listening, for those that are watching, again, either now or in the replay, just think about for your own self, what is that? What belief do you have about relationships that either allow for you to really build those relationships, or what are the disempowering beliefs that you might have that keep you from building those relationships? And think about maybe what that cost you. What does it cost you in your marriage to not really put emphasis and energy and effort into that marriage? Or what does it cost you in your relationship with your children by not putting aside time and energy and emotion to build those relationships with your children? What does it cost you in business, right? Business by not having those relationships. And so what I encourage anybody to do is to really begin to create some self-examination into relationships, and to think about, well, what could your garden look like, in 6 months from now, 9 months from now, in a year from now, in 3 years from now, 5 years from now? What can your garden, what can it harvest for you by really doing what Chris is talking about, by investing that time, by investing that energy, by buying those little presents, nothing massively expensive or anything, but something that's maybe memorable, something that people will remember. And so, Chris, we just want to say thanks for sharing that. We're excited about your symposium coming up. That's what's the date on there? Let's talk a little bit about your ROR symposium coming up. I'm excited about You've got so many great speakers, Mark Victor Hansen and Russell Brunson. You got a whole slew of different people on that speaker platform, which is really exciting. How many? 25?
So actually, we added some. So we have a total of 34 speakers. 34 speakers. Yeah, wow. You bet. And I see down on the scroll, I love that. So down on the scroll, if you guys, so roruniversity.com/event, yes. roruniversity.com/event. That's where you can go get information to be able to register and purchase a ticket for the symposium. Yep. And if you go to that, there you'll find all the information about the symposium. Like Brett said, like you said, Brett, we've got 34 speakers. I think there's a couple pictures that are not in the picture because we've added some and we have to update the group picture. But in that picture, you're going to see your lovely face is one of the speakers. And yeah, Russell Brunson, Alex Sharfin, Mark Victor Hansen, Steve Larson, McCall Jones, Allison Prince, Chad Thibodeau is one of our speakers. I know that we both do. Chad's going to be one of our speakers. Awesome. And he's going to be absolutely amazing. We got Troy Aberley, a woman by the name of Kiri Marie Moore. She's out of Australia. She's just, every one of these people, you know, people are like, hey, you just picked your friends to speak. I go, well, yeah, they're all my friends. Right. I go, I have more friends than 34 people. I said, these are 34 people that are the best at building relationships. And yeah, they happen to be my friends, but I've got a lot bigger friend list than 34 people. These are just of my friends. These are the people that have built multi-million-dollar businesses on relationships, and they're going to come now share that with you. So people are going to learn. I'm so excited. Brett, we're starting off the day. So the day starts at 9:00 a.m. Eastern time is when the symposium starts every day. But between
what's the date on there again?
Yeah, November 9th, 10th, and 11th. November 9, 10, and 11.
November 9, 10, and 11. Yep.
roruniversity.com/event. And the day starts at 9, but between 8 and 9 o'clock, we've got this incredible individual coming in that's going to do breath work and meditation work between the 8 and 9 o'clock hour. So we can get all of our minds centered in the right place so that we can absorb this information the best possible way that we can. So we're going to get everyone ready. Monday or Tuesday is going to lay down a lot of foundational work. And then Wednesday and Thursday, we get into the meat and potatoes. One of the things is people can walk away from this event knowing this is not just an event where you're going to come learn a bunch of information and listen to people speak. You're actually going to be able to implement and actually do specific things. We're going to teach everybody in this event.
It's more of an experiential event versus an educational or informational event.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you're not going to learn how to ride the bicycle. You're actually going to ride the bicycle.
You're actually going to ride the bicycle. We're going to show you how to do it. And then we're going to show you how to ride the bicycle really fast. And that's a beautiful thing because relationship building is a long game strategy. And everyone talks about how it takes a long time to build relationships. There is truth to that, but there is truth in the fact that you can make relationship building a short game strategy. And I mean, I'll share examples, Brett, at the symposium. Sure. I mean, I look at me and you. I mean, it didn't take 6 months for me and you to become close friends. We did it over. It was about a month, and me and you were.
It was. You could have asked me for anything on call too. Like you know, I'm one of those guys. You know, after doing this work for so many years, 27 years now, I've been doing this work of success and motivation. We recognize relationships really happen like in a moment. You know, it's like, do you have the relationship? Do you have the rapport? You know, do you have connection? Do you have the synchronicity between each other? Do you have certain things in common? And you know, once we identify those things, they come together pretty quick and fast. And so I just encourage, as Chris is mentioning here, to do those things. And we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes just to close out on the symposium. But I'll share with you, Chris, a quick little experience I had. So kind of like you, 4 years ago, probably, I wanted to interview the #1 Keller Williams agent in the world. Now, for those that aren't familiar with Keller Williams, they're the largest real estate company in the world. They are what we call a triple threat 3. Like they have the most amount of offices, most amount of locations, most amount of agents. most amount of volume. I think I duplicated one of those most amount of offices. But they've got largest real estate. I said, I'm going to interview the #1 real estate agent in the world with Keller Williams. And so one morning, it was early in the morning, and I did some research, went online, and I found this person. And I called him, and I got really excited. I said, I got their answer machine. I said, hi, it's Brett Figueroa. I said, congratulations on being the #1 real estate agent in the world with Keller Williams. It'd be a great opportunity to do an interview with you. Well, long story short, it was the wrong guy. He probably thought I was a fortune teller. I'm looking into your future. And so I ultimately found the right person. His name's Bob Lucido out of Maryland. So I called Bob, and I left Bob a really intense message. Hey, Bob, it's Brett Figueroa. Well, the next day, Bob calls me back, and he says, hi, this is Bob Lucido, Keller Williams. He said, I got your message. He said, I don't really know what you said. You sounded so excited, though. I had to call you back. And so he calls me back. He gives me this opportunity to do an interview. And so we've never met to this day, but he's constantly sending me messages. Brett, you're so amazing. Brett, you're a rock star. Brett, you're this. Brett, you're that. Because it's 4:00 a.m. my time, and I'm sending him a message at 6 a.m. his time, 2 hours ahead. I said, I know how to get on his radar. I'll just send him like an early morning, bam. Hey, Bob, good morning. Wishing you an amazing day. Today's the day you're going to list more, sell more. You're going to earn more, blah, 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 blah. But it's amazing because just the little tiny things, just a simple little text. We've only chatted on the phone just a few times, but to him, I'm amazing only because I take the time and I take the effort and I take the energy to send a 2-second little text. And now we get back on each other's radar. So we're talking about me coming out, doing a speaking engagement, yada, yada, which will be an amazing, amazing opportunity to be able to do that. But that was all putting the time and the energy and the effort into to just build a little micro relationship that can ultimately lead into something massive. I mean, I get into the #1 real estate agent with the largest real estate company. I pretty much can walk and open up any door across the country with that company just because we're in the #1. So I want to thank you, Chris, for sharing your stories here with us. Just in a quick nutshell, why, like if there's an ultimate, like what can somebody, like in just a sentence or two or three, what is somebody, can they expect to get out of the relationship, return on relationship symposium with the 34 different speakers on the 9th, the 10th, and 11th? Somebody says, man, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the this. I don't have the that. What is it that they are going to get out of this event? Like, what's going to be their takeaway? Like where they can go, okay, for that takeaway, I can come up with the money. For that takeaway, I can come up with the time. For that takeaway, I'll put everything off to the side to get to that takeaway. What do you think is going to be the biggest takeaway for people that could make the biggest difference, either both personally or professionally?
Biggest thing they'll take away is they're going to learn that they can create powerful, magical relationships with anyone on planet Earth that will open up the floodgates of opportunity. It will open up the doors of opportunity, create magical, powerful relationships with anyone. There is no one on planet Earth that cannot be reached or touched. And what's the greatest thing is sky's the limit. Think of anyone on this earth that you feel would be someone that would help move the needle in your life or your business. And it doesn't matter who that person is. You'll walk away from this knowing exactly how to create that magical, powerful relationship with that person without any doubt. No questions asked.
Well, I want to say thank you for that, Chris. And I also want to say thank you as we close out here. But my son plays golf, and so I typed in to the Google toolbar. Like, I always want to connect my kids with people that can help them the fastest, the quickest, let dad go out there and kind of build some of these relationships and segue them into my children. So I type in the Google toolbar, top golfers in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And so since I live here, I could, proximity and all that kind of stuff. And there's this guy, David Duval, and David Duval's won 13 PGA tours, I believe 13 PGA tours, like really sharp dude, lives like 15 minutes from the house, and just amazing guy. But it was your thinking for me to go, what can I do to grab his attention? to open that door, to open that relationship, so I can hand that over to my son. My son's focused on getting on the PGA Tour. I'll go meet somebody that's already won 13 of them. Do something crazy, fun, unique, playful, like what you've taught me. Get that door open, and then just go, Grant, here. As a dad, I'd be like, oh man. So I just want to say thank you for that, because you stretched my boundaries. You stretched my thinking in terms of, what are some of those creative and fun things that one can do to open up those doors and open up those relationships. So one last quick question. First of all, I'm excited about the event, 9th, 10th, and 11th for our viewers that are watching. It's going to be happening for 3 days, 34 different speakers, different leaders from around the world. They're going to educate you, not just educate you, but move you and motivate you and inspire you and get you not just learning about how to ride a bicycle, but getting you actually on the bicycle, and not just on the bicycle, but learning how to ride it fast.
Yes.
So we're very excited about that. And do you want to talk anything about the tickets or how that works or what program?
Love to.
Is, or...
Thank you.
Okay,
love
great.
to. Yeah. So right
talk.
now, general admission tickets are $297.
$297, and somebody's going to master the art of return on relationships. Bam, like that.
$297 to listen to 34 people top in the field of building relationships. I mean, we wanted to make this affordable. Someone's like, Christopher, you should charge the entire lot. I mean, to have that type of people assembled together, because we all go to summits and we all go to challenges, and there's a couple of speakers that speak. This isn't just a summit or a challenge. This is 34 people that are absolutely the top of their game. They're going to share their secrets with everyone that comes to the symposium on how they were able to crush it. I mean, I interviewed Jim Edwards last week, and he taught for 35 minutes on his digital whiteboard. And I'm like, if someone just applied what he taught in that interview, they're going to have a door of opportunity open for them. So $297 is general admission. And then we created something called the VIP experience. And what that is, people can take my ROR method course. And that is where I teach the step-by-step process of how I was able to pull off getting all of those speakers to speak at the symposium. The same method I went through to build relationships with them, I teach in what's called the ROR method. So along with that, they get the replays, lifetime replays. So they can go back and watch these over and over again. They get access to the course. There also is something called a VIP after party, which we're going to offer 2 weeks after the symposium to check in with everybody, kind of, get them excited and keep them excited and keep them going and keep the momentum going in the relationship building. And, people are going to have questions. Hey, I've tried this. I got questions. So there's the after party. And then at the end of each day, we have the VIP private room. So at the end of the day, those that are VIP are going to come into a room with me at the end of the day, and they'll have access to me after, so they can ask me questions. Maybe they wrote a note down during the day they had a question about. And so the VIP experience, we put in a lot of nice things in there. So if somebody wants to do more than just attend the event, they can attend the event, watch the replays later, and they're going to get a whole bunch of other stuff on top of that. And one thing I do is I make myself very accessible. I want people to be able to have the same experience that I've had, get to the same point that I have. And so thank you so much. It's roruniversity.com/event. Register. Tickets are on sale. And if you want to beef things up, go for all the extras, because those will the reason we put all those in there, some people want to kind of go here, and then some people want to go light speed.
Absolutely.
So we want to give you here's, you can learn everything, or you want to throw gas on the fire and make a really big flame, go for the VIP, because it's just going to take your point. People always like, I want to do this faster. I want to learn this relationship thing faster. Okay, well, we'll give you a way you can do it faster. And
it's like going to the Ferrari dealership and now they're asking you if you want these additional add-ons.
I'll take the turbo. So we're going to give you the turbo.
I like the turbo, and I like the better stereo, and those tires, and So I'm buying a Ferrari, so I might as well, get it maxed out to be its best. So I get it. So $297, and then there's the VIP Ultimate Experience. And as we close out here, you just recognize, first of all, great. Thanks for sharing that with us, Chris. And, for my thing on that is that, there's going to be a cost. There's always a cost. Life. There's there's this whole thing of like, there's a cost to go, and there's a price to pay to not go, right? So just like anything, so you're going to pay one way or the other. You're going to either pay to go the $297 or the VIP Ultimate Experience, or you pay not to go, and then you deal with the repercussion of that. So you deal with the repercussion, whether it be in the marriage, or whether it be with the kids, or whether it be in business, or whatever it is. There's a price to pay. And what I see this as is, I see this for the viewers and listeners, I see this as an opportunity for somebody to really step off and sharpen their tools. And I'll give you a great metaphor on here. There's a very high-end television programming that is two men, and they're chopping the tree all day. It's a lumberjack contest, and there's one big lumberjack, and then there's a smaller lumberjack guy. And the big guy, he's going at it really aggressively all day, really big man, and just really aggressively going at it, hardcore, sweating profusely. And the smaller guy, like every hour on the hour, he cuts off stage. He comes back like 5-10 minutes later. He does it every hour on the hour for the entire day. At the end of the day, the little guy cuts more wood than the big guy. And the big guy's all, he's all peeved over it. And he's like, looks at the little guy. He's like, where were you going? Were you cheating or something? He said, no, I wasn't cheating. I was just simply taking some time off to sharpen my axe. So maybe this is an opportunity for the viewers that are watching to take some time to sharpen your axe. If you're not sharpening your axe, your competitor is.
Yes.
Somebody's going to take the time off. So you can either get caught up and I've got no time and I've got no money and I've got no this and I've got no that. And it's probably the same broken down, sorry, sappy excuse that your mom or your dad or your uncle or your grandpa or grandma that they had. And then we simply pick those up in life, and then we go through life with this thing called no time luggage, no money luggage, no time, no money, no time, no money, no time, no money, no time, no money, no time. We get to the end and we have no time and we have no money. It's the entire life, because we kept saying, I got no time, no money. So if our viewers are watching right now and you've taken the time that you've been with us on this video for the last, say, 40 minutes or what have you, and that if you are at a place in your business where you go, man, you know what? I must build my relationships. This is the time. This is the season. And if I'm going to start, the time to start right now is with Chris on the Return on Relationship Symposium happening on the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th of November. Invest whatever those dollars are, $297 or the ultimate package, the ultimate experience, lifetime access to the videos and all that kind of fun stuff. So we just want to say again, Chris, thank you so much for being with us here today. Is there any last thing you want to share before we sign off?
I just came up with this really crazy idea. What we'll do we'll do this for your listeners and your watchers. If you buy the VIP experience, which is way more valuable than what we're charging for it. I know I feel weird saying that because it's like such a salesy thing. You're getting so much more value but
it's true. But it's true. Like, I mean, we speak the truth. It's true.
I've been to some events that I paid $3,000 to go to, and I got value from it, but not this type of value that we're talking about. So so I will offer a free bonus fire wallet.
Oh,
so anybody that buys the VIP experience lets me know, says, Brett, maybe send me the
fire wallet, man.
I will offer that. And the cool thing about it is I have all these videos that explain how to use the fire wallet, the mechanics of it, how to get people's attention. I mean, I have videos that teach people how to use this. And the cool thing about it is, if you look at about just under half of the people in that speaker symposium group, I met at a live event in person using that wallet.
Really?
I've walked up to somebody that's close to someone that I want to meet, and I do the fire wallet, and they come running over. Oh my gosh, let me see that. Do that again. How did you do that? Oh, hey, it's nice to meet you. My name's Christopher. What's your name? And then they introduce themselves. And I'm like, you know what? I can get one of these for you if you'd like. Really? Great. Well, here, give me your name and address, and I'll mail one to you. Oh, absolutely. And then it's like, okay, A, I'm at the VIP. B, they gave me their name and address so I could send them one of these. that's a way to get people's information and contact. So anyway, we did talk about this beforehand, but you brought the wallet out. I'm like, you know what? So yeah, if you buy the VIP experience, send me a copy of your confirmation page, and in the notes say Brett Fire, or Fire Brett, whichever way you want to do it. And
I've heard that before.
You know, so but send that to me to Christopher Vos over like Facebook Messenger. Find me and send that to me with your checkout page for the VIP. Great. And put Brett Fire Brett, whatever, something Brett and Fire together somewhere.
Brett and Fire.
And I will make sure that you get one of those wallets that Brett just showed you.
Cool. Great. Thank you for that.
You bet.
Thank you for that, Chris. It means a lot. I share with you a quick story before we close out. I happened to pull this wallet out to a lady at a gas station as a young girl, and I did the Fire wallet in front of her. She was blown away. And the greatest part about it wasn't that she was just so blown away, but she's like, you don't understand. Today was one of my worst days. She said, you just made my day. And so, you know, I've done it with a lot of different people at the grocery store and having fun, and people, wow, wow, wow. But when somebody tells you that it was one of their worst days and you just made their day because of this thing, like that to me was pure gold. That was magic.
Awesome.
That was worth the price of gold and everything. So again, thank you, Chris, much for being with us here today. You're an awesome man, an awesome family man, an awesome dad. You're an amazing, impeccable relationship builder. And that's what's awesome. And that's the fact of the matter is you got so many great friends. You're a very rich man. Reminds me of what's that Christmas movie? It's a Wonderful Life, right? You forget sometimes how rich you are until you look at all your friends and your family and you go, I'm the richest man on planet Earth. And you might not have all the money on planet Earth, but if you got great family, you got great friends, man, you're rich. And lots of people have lots of money, but they don't have lots of the great friends and camaraderie and fellowship and brotherhood and sisterhood and all that. So if you're in that place in your life and you're committed to doing something about that in your business and your personal life, I really invite you to step up to the plate, invest the dollars, come to the symposium on the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th with Chris Vos, myself, Russell Brunson, and so many others. We have a whole plate of 34 other speakers. So we're excited to have you with us. So again, Chris, thanks for being with us here today. For our listeners, for our viewers, we're signing off here today on another episode of the Brett Figueroa Show, where again, our aim is to motivate, and inspire you to be at your absolute very best. And it's these kind of interviews and these kind of platforms and these kind of ideas that we talked about here today that can really just not make a little difference in one's life, but a huge difference. Many major in the minors. We're talking about majoring in the majors. So let's go off and do some amazing things. Everybody have an amazing day. Again, Chris Vos out of beautiful Michigan. Have yourself an amazing day. Thanks for being with us here today.